UFC 308 just took place and it was a banger of a card. I'm going to talk about future matchups I want to see between some of the fighters on this card. In particular, the feature fight of Ankalaev versus Alexander Rakic, and the co-main event between Robert Whitaker and Hamza Chimaev. Lastly, the main event between Ilia Topuria and Max Holloway. First up, we have our winner in the main event, Ilia Topuria. I don't think we've ever seen a fighter get better back-to-back wins. He knocked out Volkanovski earlier this year, and now he's knocked out Max. Okay? What's next for him? I think they've made it very clear it's going to be the Volkanovski rematch. They brought him into the cage after the fight. You can't make it more clear than that. But personally, that's not what I want to see, right? I just think Volk's going to get knocked out again. I really don't see how the first fight could play out differently, right? Like Ilya's proven himself to be that guy. There's no excuses anymore. After the first fight, or after his fight with Volk, sorry, people said, Volk just turned around too quickly, and if he waited a little bit, the fight would have been different. Okay, well now he's just knocked out Max, and Max has a better chin than Volk will ever have. Okay, especially coming off of two knockout losses. So he knocked out Max. What's the excuse now? There's no excuse anymore. So we have to give Ilya that respect, and I really don't think Volk is going to do much better in the rematch. Okay, it wasn't an issue of turning around. Volk looked sharp in that fight. Ilya was just better. What I really want to see is Ilya versus Islam. That's never going to happen though, because the schedules don't line up right. Islam's having his fourth title defense in January, probably against Arman Tsarukyan, although it's not confirmed, but I've read about it online. It seems like that's what's going to happen. And after that defense, there's really nothing left for Islam at lightweight, and he'll probably just move up. Okay, if Ilya's looking at a fight with Volk next, and then maybe a fight with Diego Lopez or Evloev or Sterling, depending on who wins that fight, their schedules aren't going to line up by the time Ilya can even, call himself eligible for a, super fight for double champ status. Islam's going to be moving up to welterweight, right? I think we're going to see Islam move up to welterweight at least by the end of next year. All right, so I don't think the schedules line up for that fight, although it would be a great fight. If we're going to talk more realistic, then a fight with Diego Lopez would be more interesting to me than Volkanovski. Diego Lopez has some power in his hands, but I also think Ilya would just demolish him as well. Ilya looks too good. I don't know who could beat him at 145, which is why, in a dream world, that fight with Islam would be the best one, because he looks unstoppable right now, right? Ilya does. And Islam's looked a bit stoppable in some of his last fights, right? Excuse me. He had a close fight with Volk, and he had a close fight with Poirier, although he ended up submitting him in the later rounds. Up until that point, Poirier was landing on him, cut him open. He had his moments, right? And someone like Topuria, if he's landing on you like that, maybe you go down, maybe you go out. So that's a very, very interesting fight, but it's not going to happen. So if we're going to talk realistic, this is going to happen. Ilya versus Volk 2. They've made it very, very clear. No doubt about it. Let's move on now to our loser in the main event. Max blessed Holloway, just lost by knockout. There's really nothing left for him at 45. I'm just going to say it right off the bat, right? I mean, he's lost all three of his last title shots. He lost the belt against Volkanovski in their first fight, lost the next two fights against Volk, and now he's gotten his third title shot against Ilia Topuria, and he's lost it, right? What's he going to do? Fight contenders? We've already seen that, right? He's already fought like all the contenders there is to fight at 145. And I think what's best for him is to move up to 155. He had success there earlier this year. After the fight with Gaethje, I wanted him to stay at 155. Personally, that was just my preference. I thought he would do really good there, but he wanted to move down. He moved down. He lost. Now he himself has said in the post-fight press conference, he said that 155 doesn't look bad right now. I think that's what's best for him. Who should he fight though? I think what makes the most sense is Conor McGregor, right? Because Conor McGregor, sometimes I mess up this guy's name, I slur it too quickly. Conor McGregor. I just call him Conor. That's easy. Conor, because when you look at the state of the lightweight division right now, we have Islam Makhachev, right? Holloway's not going to get a title shot after just getting knocked out at 145. Not going to happen, okay? We have number 1 ranked Arman Tsarukyan. He's fighting for the belt next. We have number 2 ranked Charles Oliveira. He's fighting Michael Chandler. We have number 3 ranked Justin Gaethje. Just got knocked out by Holloway. That's not happening again. We have number 4 ranked Dustin Poirier. That could happen, but I just personally don't see it, right? I really don't see it. Just because the BMF is on the line, oh, now the fight's a big deal. I mean, we've already seen it twice. It would be a good fight to happen for a third time, and I wouldn't be opposed to it, but Poirier's already hinted at maybe having a fight booked. I really don't know who's going to fight, but that could happen. What I'd prefer to see, though, is a super fight. I think we should give Holloway an easier fight because Poirier is still, he's still a dog, right? Like, he could still knock out Holloway, especially now that Holloway's chin has been cracked, right? He could just go on a spiral of losing all of his next fights by knockout, right? I hope that doesn't happen. You could also give him Dan Hooker, but Dan Hooker's ranked below him right now in lightweight. I don't want to give him a low-ranked fight. I want to give him a star. I want to give him somebody who's going to give him a payday, okay? Holloway deserves that payday. He should fight Conor. And now Conor has hinted at fighting Hooker next year, Dan Hooker. I should say his full name. Sorry, that makes it sound a little weird. Conor has hinted at fighting Dan Hooker next year, but are we really going to believe that? Like, he hinted at fighting Conor hinted at fighting Michael Chandler for 3 years. Not hinted. That's what the UFC said was going to happen. And they even booked it and canceled it, and they had the Ultimate Fighter, and they did so much promo or whatever, and it never happened. Okay, and it probably will never happen because Chandler now has a new fight that he's going to lose. He's going to lose against Oliveira. That's a different topic, though. You're going to tell me that Conor's going to fight Dan Hooker? Dan Hooker just got his first top 5 win, and now he's going to get a superstar like Conor, and he's going to headline that pay-per-view with Conor? That's not happening. If Conor's going to fight, he's going to headline that pay-per-view, and who better to headline against than Max Holloway, BMF title holder? You got to book that fight. I think that's what's best for both of them, and I'd love to see it sometime next year. Next up, we have the winner of our co-main event, Khamzat Chimaev. He won in spectacular fashion, and I don't even need to talk anymore. Just show Dricus du Plessis. Like, what else is left for Khamzat? Who is going to fight Dricus? Sean Strickland? No one wants to see that fight again. Sean Strickland fought Paulo Costa and stunk it up. Just stunk it up. What a terrible fight that was. Okay, the only reason it's even memorable and the only reason anyone's going to talk about it in the future is, one, to shit on Sean Strickland and say, look at this boring fight. This guy thinks he's going to war. We're going to war! And then he does that bullshit with his marching teep kicks or whatever. Number two, because it was almost a robbery, because they gave Sean Strickland they gave Costa the fight on one of the scorecards. It was, kind of stupid. Everyone was like, what the hell? Those are the only 2 reasons anyone's going to talk about that fight. Whereas when we talk about Khamzat, they're going to talk about his fight with Whitaker and say, this guy crushed another man's face in with a face crank in like 2 seconds. All right? That's crazy work. In Whitaker's, however many years of MMA, he's never had his teeth crushed in with a punch or whatever. He's eaten a lot of punches. He's had his head spun back a few times. He's been knocked out by Dricus himself. No one's crushed his teeth like that and had him panic tapping. Like, he started tapping instantly. I was like, what the hell? What did this guy tap to? Like, what the hell did he get? What kind of a face crank is that he's tapping right away, right? So, I think that's how you call for a title shot. You don't just get a boring win against Paulo Costa, of all people, and then say, I want the title shot, I'm next, I want my rematch, they robbed me. It was a close fight, bro. Close fights are not robberies, all right, bro? You had a close fight, you had a war with Dricus. Dricus got the win. Now your only argument for a title shot is because it was a split decision win, because it went to the scorecards, right? Sit out, bro. Sit out all you want. You're not getting that shot. If you want to be a man about it, and if you want to become a star, and you want to earn that title shot, and if you want all the fans calling for you to get that shot, win in spectacular fashion. If Sean Strickland went out there and knocked out Paulo Costa, who would be saying, don't give him a title shot? They'd be saying, give this guy a shot right now. But no, he didn't do that. He got a boring decision win, and then he pissed off, and he said, I'm just going to wait for my shot now. Who does that, bro? Whitaker beat Paulo Costa. Same win that Strickland got. Strickland lost to du Plessis, and Whitaker lost to du Plessis. They both came back and fought Paulo Costa. Whitaker's fight with Costa was a lot more entertaining, all right? A lot more entertaining. And then after that, he went on to fight Khamzat Chimaev. That fight didn't happen. And then I messed that up a little bit. That fight didn't happen. And then Ikram Aliskerov stepped in, and then he knocked out Ikram Aliskerov, and then he asked for Chimaev again, and now he's lost. Had he beat Chimaev, this guy would 100% get the shot over Strickland because of how he's confident. Look at a guy like Whitaker coming off a loss to Dricus du Plessis. He doesn't beat Costa and say, I want the shot. No, he says, let me fight Khamzat. Khamzat's not going to fight? Okay, let me fight Ikram. Ikram, he knocks him out. Let me fight Khamzat again. And now Khamzat just demolished Whitaker. I think what makes the most sense is to have a star like Khamzat who has all the hype behind him again, like he did back in the day, to fight for a title, right? Yeah, that's what makes sense. Let's move on now to Robert Whitaker, the loser of the main event. Robert Whitaker lost. He stepped up for this fight. He called for it, He Robert Whitaker just lost this fight, but you know what? He called for this fight with Hamzat. He wasn't offered it. He proved that he's a stud, that he's not going to sit out like a crybaby Sean Strickland. And I love your shit on Sean Strickland, right? And even the fans have started to hate Sean Strickland because they're just sick of his, edgy persona. Like, okay, we get it, bro. You're edgy. You make funny jokes or whatever. You make middle school jokes. Good for you, bro. You're a boring fighter. That's what we care about at the end of the day. And Whitaker, he lost to. That's not even relevant right now. Why the fuck am I talking about that? Let's try again, okay? Whitaker lost to Hamza, but I don't want to see him fight super low in the rankings just because he came off a loss, right? He beat Costa, fought Aliskerov, and then he called for that fight with Hamza and he lost it. Had that injury. He's probably going to sit out for a little bit. Who should he fight next? I think he could fight Nasruddin Imavov. He could also fight Sean Strickland if Sean Strickland wants to stop being a baby and sitting out and accept the fact that he's not getting the next title shot and that he should probably fight one more time. He could fight Robert Whitaker, right? Is that going to happen? No, because Sean Strickland is a pussy, right? Now, when we talk about realistic scenarios, he could fight Imavov because Whitaker just lost his last fight and Imavov just won his last fight in kind of boring fashion. I didn't really watch it because I was actually traveling at the time, but no one spoke good about the fight afterwards. Like I read all the reactions on social media. Everyone said it was kind of a shit show and that none of them should even be mentioning the words title shot in a sentence because they performed badly. So what do? You give Whitaker Imavov sometime next year after Whitaker has recovered. I don't think Imavov is going to be in a rush to come back. He might be. I really don't know. But this is a fight that I'd like to see. I think it's a perfect fight for both of them. Book that. They're ranked right next to each other. I don't know what's going to happen when they update the rankings in a few days, but I think this is the fight that they should make next. Next, we have Magomed Ankalaev. He won his fight against Rakic by decision. I thought he looked not bad. I thought he looked okay. A lot of people were shitting on him. They said that, he can't call for a title shot after that performance. Who else is going to get the shot, bro? Right? He beat Rakic. I'm going to speak about Rakic when I get to Rakic after this part. But yeah, I think Ankalaev looked good. A lot of people were also saying domination for some reason on social media. People are only on two extremes, right? No one ever has a rational opinion. So people were saying that Ankalaev dominated Rakic. It was 29-28, bro. Not really domination. And then others were saying he looked terrible. I think he's in the middle. He looked not bad, not great. Okay? Who do you give him next? Pereira. I mean, Pereira's not going to go for that triple champ status, right? Aspinall still, or the whole heavyweight division actually, is still being held up by John Jones. Thanks, John, for that. Who knows what's going to happen after John, beats Stipe, or if he loses, hopefully he loses. Who knows what's going to happen after the fight? Are they going to fight Aspinall? If not, what's going to happen? Is Pereira going to move up? Blah, blah, blah. It's probably not going to happen early next year. Pereira's going to come around, maybe fight in March. I really don't know when he's going to fight. I don't know when the timing is gonna work around Ramadan because Uncle is probably gonna be fasting, not gonna be fighting in Ramadan, which is gonna be in like February, March-ish. So yeah, I think that's the fight to make early next year, before or after Ramadan. I really don't know. I really don't care. Just book the fight, honestly, right? Book it. There's nothing else for Pereira. I don't think he's doing triple champ status anytime soon. Maybe at the end of next year, right? He's gonna need time to probably bulk up to that because he's a big guy, but he's not Aspinall big, right? I don't think he's Aspinall big. He's going to need a little bit of time. So I think just book the fight with Ankalaev. There's really not much excuse you can give anymore. Book that fight. Lastly, we have Alexander Rakic. This guy, I want to mention one thing about his fight, okay? I got that prediction wrong. Only one I got wrong yesterday. But this guy, his corner told him that he was up 2-0 going into the third round, right? Burping a lot. I don't know why you would tell your fighter that when they were clearly not up 2-0. Rakic had one round, he won round one, and then Ankalaev won round two. You're 1-1 going into round three. You need the third round. Your corner tells you you're winning. So you know what happens? He goes out into round three. He's getting pieced up by Ankalaev. What does he think? Does he think, oh, let me land some powerful shots on this guy. Let me win this round or maybe get a finish? No, he says, let me clinch. Let me shoot for a takedown. And accept that I'm going to lose this round. But hey, guess what? I'll get the win 29-28. Guess what? It's not going to freaking happen because your corner lied to you. I don't know why they did that, but that's, it is what it is. It's the past. What's the future? What's next for him? Johnny Walker. There we go. Got it on the screen. Johnny Walker. Everyone else is kind of booked. Everyone else in the light heavyweight rankings. I don't think he deserves like a top five matchup again. This guy's fought two top five contenders, both ranked above him in Yuri and Ankalaev. Lost both of them. All right, it's time to give him a lower ranked guy. Give him Johnny Walker. Let him prove himself. Right, this guy's lost three in a row now. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's lost three in a row. Rakic has lost three fights in a row, and Walker's lost like two in a row. He's a beautiful bounce back fighter. I'm not gonna lie. Walker's entire purpose is when someone has a lackluster performance or loses a fight, they can go and fight Johnny Walker, knock him out brutally, and get a highlight reel, and people are going to say, oh, look at him, he's back, and he's got all this power and whatever. Get some hype to the name, and then maybe they can call for a top 5 matchup. For now, give him Johnny Walker, let him get a cool KO sometime next year, and yeah, that's it for Rakic, and that's it for this video. Let me know what you guys want to see in the comments. Let me know if you agree with the matchups I've played out, and let me know what you thought about the card. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. See you guys next time.